Hi everybody, I am live. I was going to do my makeup, goodness, and my hair to do some headshots for myself for my website, and I figured why not do my makeup live and just talk to you all. So first of all, Happy New Year. My name is Amy, in case you don't know me. Obviously, even if you don't know me, it's my profile and my name's right there. So hi, I'm Amy. My last name is Suchma. So I am a professional makeup artist. I've been a professional makeup artist for about 30 years now. And I'm also a licensed esthetician. So I get a lot of questions from friends and family about makeup and skincare and beauty products in general. So I just figured I would come online and do my makeup with you all. So this is what I look like without filters or help from AI. Which I'm totally fine. Look at that, up and close. Look at all that texture, like a normal human being. All right, so I'm gonna get started, and then I don't know where the conversation's gonna go. You can ask me questions. Hopefully I'll be able to see them. And yeah, it says comments will appear here. Oh, great. Hey, Cal. So yeah, I'm gonna start with some skincare. I will be doing some education, but again, who knows where this conversation's gonna go, so I'm just gonna get to it. The first thing that I do when I prep my skin is I usually use a hyaluronic acid serum. This one is from Glow Recipe. It's a plum plump. I love it. And I use like a lot. Like you really want to prep your skin really well. And by the way, just so you know, I'm going to be on here for a while because I'm like doing my whole face. So you can, if you're showing up when I'm not live anymore, just fast forward to whatever section you're curious about because that's your own responsibility in this, not mine. So I'm using a lot, and I'm using a foundation brush to get a really nice even layer. You really want your skin to be hydrated. Now, before I did this, I am going to go under the eyes. The molecules are small enough on this serum to actually go in the eye area. I like to use a brush with my serum when I'm actually doing pictures for myself, and plus it just feels really good. And just making sure that it's massaged in, and I'm gonna bring it down on the neck because anywhere I'm putting makeup on, I'm gonna put it on the neck. Yeah, so here we go. Just so you can see. La, 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 la. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions for the two people that showed up. Hi Sharon. Yeah. I don't know. I just been wanting to go online, and I've been wanting to go live for a while and do this and answer questions, and I don't know. I guess I've just been not wanting to go through the process of it all. But also, I mean, there's this level, I guess, of just, I haven't really been believing in myself, or like believing that I'm going to be consistent enough in it to really help people. So I do offer lessons. I give private lessons one-on-one on Zoom. So if you wanted to learn how to do your makeup like with what you have at home, because I'm not here like to be endorsing any product or brand. I no longer have to worry about, my P's and Q's when it comes to what I like and what I don't like. By the way, I'm using the Shiseido Benefiance. I probably should have like wiped around the edge. Oh well. But I'm going to use a little bit of eye cream underneath my eye. And then it was just like a tiny little bit. And then I'm just going to make sure that I'm letting it sit and absorb for a hot second. I also will take a little bit and go right on my brow bone because I really want to add some hydration there of like whatever's here and whatever's left over. I'm just going to bring it up there. Cool. And that's it. My lips are a little dry. So at this point, I'll usually do, while I'm doing my skincare prep and letting this sit in my skin, I'm getting over a cold too. I'm going to take a little bit of a lip plumper, and this is from Dr. Dennis Gross. Plump and Repair Lip Treatment. I don't have my glasses on either, so I can't see anything. And this is where I'll start with a little bit of lip plumper to let it take effect. Hey, Joyce. Good to see ya. Joyce is my cousin, by the way. We are related. And we're very fortunate. We have a great family. I love my family. Yeah, so here we go. So I put the lip plumper on, and you can see it's like super hydrated, but it's actually gonna turn a little bit pink and start like really plumping and prepping my lips. But now that all this seems to be absorbed, my skin is pretty combination, and I actually did a mini facial on myself earlier, so I don't really feel like I need to do a whole lot more hydration and moisture. I'm just making sure that all of this is blended in, and even, you know, adding a little bit to the circulation in my skin to keep it going. It's really important for makeup application to last when you have your makeup absorbed, or your skincare absorbed completely into your skin. So, you know, you want to put a good amount on, but you also want to make sure that that amount is massaged completely into your skin. So there we go. Look how glowing. Lovely. Okay, so let's get started with the makeup. I am going to use a little bit of primer. If I felt like I needed a little bit more hydration, I would usually let it sit here. I'm gonna do my eyes and put my eyebrows on because I don't have any, obviously. Thank you to the 90s and Drew Barrymore. You were my idol, and I tweezed the living daylights out of my eyebrows so I could look like you. And so, yeah, so I have none left. And so I'm not even prepared. I wasn't even prepared for any of this. Like, I had no idea what I was exactly going to do. So that's why I'm like, what am I doing? Okay, I'm gonna get my eyeshadow primer that I need to replace because it's almost over. And the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion is one of my favorites. And the reason why, well, first of all, I have to squeeze it. You could tell I use it. I got to take some out of the squeegee tube, and I'm going to put it here. And I'm doing my eyes first. One, not necessarily because of fallout from eyeshadows that can get on that can clean up. I mean, because sometimes you put eyeshadows on and the shadows can fall there, and then you can clean it up, and you don't have to worry about your complexion. I actually prefer to do complexion first because I know how to prevent fallout, but I'm letting my skincare absorb because I want to see if I'm going to end up really dry right there because I'm pretty combination skin. So I'm going to put a little bit of the primer, and I'm bringing it up to my eyebrow and then going underneath the eye, just a little tiny bit right along the lash line, so, you know, nothing falls or moves. And yeah, I still got that good 3 people here. What's up, 3 people? How you doing? Happy New Year, everyone. So yeah, and these are my own products, so I'm not worried about being hygienic. Normally, like when I'm working on models and such, or on clients, like, of course I'm going to be hygienic with using applicators, disposable applicators, but this is like my own stuff. So if anybody feels like, what are you doing? Like, I don't care because it's mine. So there. Okay. The primer, as you can see, looks like it completely disappeared. I like this one, particularly because it does disappear on my skin. I'm pretty fair too, and that's why it does that. If your skin is more rich and deeper in complexion, I mean, this might end up reading a little bit gray. So you could either mix it with a little bit of concealer that matches your skin tone, or a tiny little bit of foundation, or put it on and then actually mix it before it dries, and then it'll be completely flawless. But this stuff, it ain't going anywhere when I put it on. So, and I'm not really listing like I'll see if I feel like going through that. I don't know, maybe I might list the products that I use. I know it would probably be helpful for you. And I'm having an internal dialogue like externally. I don't know, we'll see. It takes a lot of time. I don't know if I feel like doing that, but maybe I will. Maybe I will. Okay. It's great, like, working for myself because I don't have anybody making me do that kind of stuff. And I'm not being paid by any of these brands or endorsing anything. I just wanted to hang out with you all. Okay, eyebrows. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna take a little bit of my face powder, and it's a foundation powder, and I'm actually using this for the first time, and this is from Laura Geller. I was so excited. And I always wanted to use it, but like my former employer, we didn't really sell it at that time, so I didn't really get to use it. So I'm gonna use it this time, but I'm gonna use it right now. I'm gonna take a little bit on a brush, and I'm actually gonna go ahead and soften my brows a little and kind of set that primer. And I'm gonna take, as I'm setting the primer, because I'm gonna do the brows and I don't want them to be like shiny, I'm gonna take a little bit of it too. And I actually want my eyeshadow to blend really well. And you can see my skin moving a little. I'm pressing it into, and I'm actually just going right into the contour and up. And this part here on my lid, I'm gonna keep sticky because I want a little bit more intensity with my eyeshadow on my lid than I do up here. And then this way, if I'm setting the primer from the contour up, anything that I blend out here will just blend so much easier. If you heard a sneeze, that's my cat. And then I'm gonna take a little bit more, and I'm actually gonna set it underneath here too. So these are nice and set. And then I can put my eyebrows on. Thank goodness. It is really warm in here, so I'm probably sweating even if I am perimenopausal, so I do get warm when I don't want to be warm. Anyway, TMI. So, yeah, what am I doing? Brows. That's what I'm doing. Okay, so I am now going to grab my brow pencil. Now, I am going to be taking pictures of myself, so I want my brows to show up a little bit more consistently. And I'm sharpening my pencil. I'm using the, what am I using? I'm using Anastasia Beverly Hills, and the color is caramel, because I am now a redhead, and I love it. And I have my mirror set up here, and I'm going to actually, I think I'm going to grab a mirror, a hand mirror, so I can get a little bit closer so you can see it. All right, so normally I know where my brows go on a lot of the times, but if you don't, this is generally how I learned how to do my brows. So I hold the pencil from the outside of my nostril through the inner corner of my eye up on my brow bone, and that's where I want them to start. Because I am going to be doing photographs of myself for my website, you can see this eyebrow actually grows higher than this one. So this one's a little thinner. So I gotta make sure that those are a little even. And then I go to the outside corner here, right? Like so. And I don't want to go down too much. I kind of want my brow to go out a bit. Not completely straight out, but I want to follow the contours of my bone structure. And I can't see all that well because, again, I don't have my glasses on. Let me look and see. Yeah, that looks relatively even. I think that looks pretty good. Now this bone, what's interesting is this bone actually is a little bit higher than this bone. We all have some asymmetry to our faces, which is what makes us human and makes us all unique and beautiful. That's why we usually have a better side, which is great. So I'm actually going to bring this up a little bit farther, and then I'll use this little spoolie to kind of erase that. All right. And then when it comes time for the arch, I usually go from the nostril through the outer color of the iris, and I'm gonna go right up here. And this is how you actually measure, going with your bone structure on how to create your brows, y'all. So here. So what I do now is I actually start at the arch and I start to kind of connect the dots a little bit, but I'm just drawing little hairs, and I'm really, it's almost like I'm drawing little squiggles. I am gonna go under the here a little bit, and I'm just gonna very gently, I'm hardly touching my skin. Now my skin is moving a little bit because, you know, I'm 50. So my eyebrow skin now moves, which was one of the first things that I noticed. So I had to really lighten up my touch. But if you notice, I'm not going too far out or too thick up here. I'm really just keeping these strokes here going down and making it kind of look like different dimensions of hairs. And that's how I do my brow. It's a little too pointy up here, so I'm just gonna take this and soften that out. And when it comes time to even, you know, make it even, you know, I'm starting again with the arch. And obviously I've been doing my brows my whole life, basically. So very long time. So I know where everything goes. If you need to slow this down and look at it, that's fine. I'm trying to be slow, but I mean, this is going to be like a long kind of video anyway. I don't know. Sometimes I just need to accept where my brows are in life and not overdo it or overthink it. I actually kind of like that one a little bit better. Let me see if I can get this one even. So hopefully this is working for everyone. Great. You know, yeah, I mean, I just had like another thought in my head. Sometimes I'll have like really split, like 2 or 3 second conversation in my head, and then I'll just start blurt out like the middle of the conversation, and people are like, what? I haven't ever really done like New Year's resolutions or anything, like New Year, New Me and all that. I mean, I usually end up doing that whenever it feels, when I feel inspired to do so. And it just so happened that New Year's Day in 2026 is the day that I figured, oh, hey, I'm going to do this and I'm going to get this started. So hopefully I stick with it. I want to be able to do, I'm like, hopefully. And the reason why I say that is because I've done this so many times where I'm like, I'm going to go live and I'm going to do this. And then I end up not sticking with it. I really want to stick with it this time. So yeah, so when I'm just doing my makeup for anything, I'm just going to go live and do my makeup with you guys and talk with all of you. So, oh, now what I'm doing is I'm using a flat brush. Now, this is an old brush. It's been around a while, and your brushes can last a long time. And I'm using a powder. So this is the caramel powder from Anastasia. And I'm kind of just wiggling the tip of this brush in here. And then I'm going to press off the excess. And I'm just going to very softly kind of set that pencil and deepen it, just very gently. So this is setting the wax of the pencil, right? And deepening the color as well. But I mean, there's a process, there's a method to my magic, if you will. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to press that off again. And again, I always start at the arch because that's really where I want the most lift. And then, so that's where I want the most pigment. Where I lay down my brush first is where I'm gonna get the most intensity of pigment. And you'll see that more when I do my eyes. Ta-da. So there's that. But we are not done, because when you don't have eyebrows and you're trying to make it look like you have natural eyebrows, there's a process. So what I do is I take a powder and I take my brush and I put a little bit of powder on my brush. And this is, you know, my pressed powder foundation. And I'm just going to soften that I'm just going to take it and do a quick little softening effect here and here, just because it just blurs it out a little bit. And then I'm going to take my powder again, and this is where it gets really fun. So now I'm starting to get some dimensions in my brows, right? But what I like to do next is I'll use a brush, an angled, really thin angled brush. And this is also from Anastasia. And I'm going to use the powder, and I'm going to take the brush in the deeper shades, just the tip of the brush, and have it just on the tip of the brush. And then I'm going to wipe off the edges like so. And I'm basically going to stamp hairs. So it's going to look more dimensional. As you can see, I get more dimension on my brows. And then that's what makes it look like real hair. So there we go. I am following hair pattern, right? And if you ever wanted to know what hair patterns to use, I mean, go online and watch microblading techniques, because they got it down, right? Usually these hairs out here, I'll draw down. These hairs right here, I'll draw sideways. These hairs I'll usually draw up. So there's a hair pattern to that. I'm gonna again soften that, go up here and like really gently start creating some dimension. I hope you could see it. And then that's it. Ta-da, eyebrows. Great. All right. Cool. So now that I got that done, I am going to do a little bit of, I think I'm going to go with complexion. I'm feeling a little crazy. I like to do my complexion before I actually do my eyes, because it just makes me feel better. Because if my complexion feels good, then I really don't want to do too much on my eyes. I don't know. It's just kind of how I'm feeling today. So let's talk about complexion, eh? Right now I'm in between shades. I'm pretty fair. So, but I'm going to shake up to, sorry. I'm funny. All right. This is from Ilia. This is a Super Serum Skin Tint SPF 40. And I'm going to take a little bit, and I know I keep like, I'm going to have to drink some water soon because my throat's a little scratchy. And this is what I do with my foundation or my skin tint. I don't really wear a full coverage foundation, but I do like to warm it up in my fingers. And anybody who had taken a class with me when I worked for my former employer, I've taught this a lot. And it's a little messy, so have, you know, a washcloth nearby or tissues. So this is what I do. And then I press it onto my skin, because when my foundation is warm, it's actually going to fuse with my skin better. And this is where I need the most coverage right now. So I know people really like full coverage, and some people need full coverage or just prefer full coverage. For me, I don't particularly. I don't like the feeling of makeup on my face, if that makes sense. I love the way it looks, but I don't like to feel like I'm wearing makeup. So the makeup that I'm doing on my face, and I don't need a whole lot of coverage, but I am going to be taking some pictures, so I don't want to have to edit. And so that actually looks pretty good. I'm pretty fair. Sometimes I have to take my summer shade and my winter shade and mix them and customize until I am really fair. But yeah, I'm pretty fair now. Excuse me. So I don't know. I don't see, there's no comments. So far it's just still a few of the same people watching. How many people? There's 6 people watching. Interesting. Cool. Hey, hi 6 people. I have no idea who you are. I am drinking some Vicodin. This is not vodka. This is restructured water, just so you know. And it's from Vicus, and it's amazing, and some of the best tasting, most incredible high vibrational restructured water that I've ever used. So yes, I know this looks like I'm drinking a vodka bottle, and I'm not. I'm still sober, I promise you. This is water. Good. Excuse me. Okay. Here we go. I will, though, if I, even though I'm not really so concerned with being completely super hygienic, because they're my own products, when I'm working with other people and their products, like, because I have a separate kit for my clients, I will use hand sanitizer, but I just coughed in my hand and I don't want to contaminate my product, so I am going to use some hand sanitizer right here, so I don't put my little germies on my products. Okay. What am I doing? Oh yeah, concealer. All right, so I'm going to take a little concealer. Now, concealer is actually where I'll spend a little bit more money, like more of like an investment, because it's going around my eyes. I want it to melt into my skin. I want it to be a really high quality. And where is it? Where's my concealer? Oh, here it is. Okay, it's hidden. The concealer that I'm using is from Westman Atelier. I love it because it's so hydrating, and I just need a tiny little bit for everything that I need. Oh, before I do my concealer, I will use a little bit. This stuff is so great. This is called Hollywood Flawless Filter from Charlotte Tilbury. The lighter shade I had in a little mini version. I have a larger one somewhere, but I just take a little bit and I actually add a little highlight here and here. Because I get a little more dry in the cheek area. So I want it to be very hydrating looking. And so, I mean, that's a lot, but I like to kind of drag it down into these drier areas. So not only am I getting these highlights, I do have teen cheekbones. I understand I was blessed with some really great cheekbones. Thank you, Mom and Dad. And then I'm bringing it down to, you can see how reactive my skin can get. I just exfoliated earlier today, but I'm bringing that down here and then probably down into my neck a little bit. I just want it to be like very soft and smooth, and I mixed it with my tint, my serum, like foundation, because most of the coverage that I'm going to be getting is from my concealer. And then I actually do like a setting with a little bit of a foundation powder, and I'll show you how I do that too. Under the eye area, particularly for photographs, I do a little on the tip of the nose. I go in the inner corners. I probably should have brought that up a little bit higher. Down in the outer corner, and then I'll go in the center here between the brows, and then I will go above the brow, maybe a little bit here. I will go right above the Cupid's bow, center of the chin, and I'll actually do a little dot like right under my cheekbone here, right? And I'll probably bring one more. So this is it that I usually do for my concealer, and then I start blending it out. Now, I could use my fingers if I want. I am going to use I'm going to use a concealer brush, and I'm going to start pressing this into my skin like so, very, very gently. I mean, you could, I'm not wiping it. I'm pressing it until it's actually warming up to my skin and kind of expanding under my brush. So press, press, press. So you can already see, like, wow, that's amazing. This stuff is so good. I mean, it gives such great coverage. But what I found with the Westman Atelier, it's a bit more on the pricey side when it comes to concealers, but it also has great skincare benefits, and it never gets cakey on me, no matter what. Like, even no matter how much I put on there, it's so good. Anyway, so again, I'm pressing this, and then I'm kind of blending this up a little. I'm going to invert my brush and just start pressing above the brow and then just blending it out. So you can see it's actually getting easier for my concealer to blend because it's warmed up to my skin now because it's been sitting on my skin. Now, you don't want to wait too long because you don't want it to dry like that, but I love that I get some playtime with this concealer, and I love that it just melts into the skin once it warms up. And I think that that's the thing, is like, you know, less is more. Like, I can always add more on if I need it, but I like to just start off with a little bit. And what I'm doing is just bringing it kind of around this edge and working with my bone structure, and whatever's left over on my brush, I'm going to bring it around my nose. And then I'm just gonna go right above my lip. I still have some of that lip gloss, lip plumper on, so I don't want to get it on my brush. So I'm just gonna use my finger, and I'm kind of like pressing downward to get that highlight there, but then also not get lip plumper all over my face, or my whole face will be pink. So now that those things are done, and you could already see like how the dimension is working, which is really fun. I love makeup. I'm gonna take these little bits right here that I did and just kind of draw a line, and you can see how that's creating a contour for me. And this is another reason why I don't particularly like using a full coverage foundation right away. I do like to fully cover the things that need to be fully covered, but I like seeing some texture. I like seeing a little bit of imperfections on myself. I mean, not when I'm doing like a photo shoot or anything, or working for a client. They want it to be perfect. But I do like using my own skin tone, because my concealer is about a shade lighter or two lighter than my actual skin tone. But I like how that's creating. And then I'm going to kind of just blend these two together right here. So, oh, I forgot about the tip of my nose. Look at that. And when I do the tip of my nose, I'm just going to kind of blend it upward this way. So I did some really nice highlighting. And when it comes to actually contouring my skin, I don't particularly always use a dark, oh, I have a little bit of a blemish right there. I'm just going to take whatever's left over and just wiggle it on there real nice. So, I mean, see how that disappeared? I have like an old blemish, or I don't know, maybe that's hyperpigmentation, and I just kind of take whatever's left over and soften it. Okay, so that looks good. Nice. I like it. How many people? Oh, still 5. Oh, there's 5 people. Somebody left. Okay, bye. It's fine. And like I said, if you have any questions, or if you come to this later, and if you want to make a comment and let me know like what you want to see, like if you want to do something that is more focused on something, you just let me know. I am going to take, I did have the Laura Geller, and I think that's cool, but I'm going to show you the technique that I have. One of my favorite brands, and they are not paying me to talk about them. One of my favorite makeup brands ever is Makeup Forever. Anybody that knows me knows this. Like, it is one of my favorite brands of all favorite, the mecca of brands. And I usually have 2 different shades. And these are the HD Skin Matte Velvet powdered foundations. And I love these. And anybody that I had taught to do makeup, they know that I always reference these. So that's my lighter shade, that what I am now, that I could do all over my face. But this is my deeper shade that I usually used for summer, but I'm actually going to use it to contour. You know, contouring can just simply be like a deeper version of my skin tone, like a shade or 2 deeper. I mean, as long as it's not too yellow or too orange. Sorry, I have like fuzz on my face. I mean, I can do a contouring product, and I could show you what that looks like. So I'm just going to show you really quickly what it looks like with a deeper shade. So I'm going to take out that sponge that needs to be cleaned, and I'm going to show you what that deeper shade looks like. And it looks pretty yellow in here. I'm going to take this brush, fluffy brush, and I'm using, like, I'm bending it like almost like the side tip of the brush. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to warm it up in my hand. Just very gently, kind of just rock back and forth. And I could feel when it starts to warm up. And it's important for those pigments to be warm because they're going to blend and fuse right into my skin. So not only did I kind of tap off the excess onto my hand, I now have a little bit of warm pigments on my brush, and I'm just going to press and wiggle into those areas that maybe I would want. I'm going to get a little bit more. That maybe I would want a little bit more of dimension, contour. So again, press and wiggle in these areas. And that's going to give me a little bit more of a soft contoured look. Now, I am aware, because of the genetics of the high cheekbones, that I don't need a lot of contour, because if I contour too much, I'm going to look like an alien. And sometimes that's really cool, but that's not what I'm going for today. And I'm going in on the temple, and I am pressing right at the temple. I want this to fuse and be very seamless. You can also use a bronzer, but you really don't want to use a bronzer to contour. You would just want to add a little bit of color. And that's what's cool about using a bit of a deeper tone. I'm actually going to go right on the side of my nose and kind of use it as a contour slash bronzer to just add a little bit of color to me. See what that plumper did up there? I got some plumper up there. Now it's all pink. So anyway, and plus it's like I'm adding a little bit of color here and here, because then I don't have to do layers of makeup. You know, I'm getting a little bit of coverage, I'm getting a little bit of color, and now I'm gonna go into my lighter shade, which is the shade that I am right now. And I'm gonna wipe off my brush. I usually just kind of wipe off the excess of my brush. I usually have some kind of washcloth close by, or a towel or whatever. And I'm gonna take a little bit of this, same thing, load up my brush. So it's almost like you can like push the pigment into the brush. And notice I don't do that because that just wastes my product. I used to do that. I used to do that, and then I realized, oh, it just wastes product. I want the pigments to actually fuse into the brush. So I'm gonna let it warm into the brush. Oh, another person dropped off. Bye. Happy New Year. And then I'm just gonna go over all the other areas and very softly. I wanted a little bit more coverage, maybe like right here on the cheeks and down here. And that's how I do it. And then maybe bring some of that down. So this gives me plenty of coverage. I don't really need a whole lot more for even doing some photos on myself. But we'll see what happens like after I put the eye and lip on. So I know this is quite a bit. Thanks for hanging in there. Okay. And let's see what else. The hell do I want to do next, eh? Oh yeah, I'll show you how to contour. So if I really wanted to get some serious contour, I usually do, and it's okay because even with the powder on, it's okay if I use a really soft layer of like a cream. And I can even take my hands and warm the product up, because even though powder foundations are powder, they still wear like a foundation whenever they get warm and still fuse with the skin. So I can still feel the skin is kind of sticky. Thanks, my friend. I'm excited to try these tips. The other tips have elevated my makeup application. Oh, you're so welcome. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining me. Okay, so I'm gonna take, this is from Fenty. So this is the actual name, because you know you have to say the actual names. The color is amber. This is Matchstick's contour stick. So I'm gonna actually, again, warm it up on my hand. Like, yeah, makeup's a messy business. And you can see this is like a cooler tone. So here's what's interesting about contour. Everybody's contour shade is the same shade as the shadow that the chin casts on the neck. That's how you know when it's your contour shade. So basically everybody, it doesn't matter who you are, what your skin tone is, you have light flashing down on you. And if you are looking for a contour shade, then whatever color of the shadow that the chin casts on the neck, that's your contour shade. If you're not sure, you could just cast a shadow yourself like that and see that color. So you see that shade right there that's happening? It's very similar to matching that. So I'm gonna use my finger. This is how I contour. And this is how I actually contour for photo shoots too. I'm gonna take my finger and I have it on my finger and I'm going to feel right in the hairline above the ear. I'm gonna feel where I want the most depth, and then I'm gonna place my finger and I'm gonna stamp that contour right here. And then I'm gonna bring it forward and towards the nose and lift off like that. And then I'm gonna blend it upward like so. And you could either use a sponge. I love the Rare Beauty sponges and it's already damp. I dampen it and then I like squeeze out the excess water. So I could just go ahead and press and like flick upward and blend it into, you want the shadow to come from somewhere, right? So I want it to come from my hairline. And that's it. I don't want it down too far. I'm pushing it upward because I want it to flick off of that bone and create this like beautiful structure. I'm gonna grab a little bit more. Again, feel my bone structure, stamp that right here. Get it in there real good, like, oh yeah. Bring it in towards the nose and flick off, right? And then blend it upward. And that's how I contour. And that's pretty much how I contour everybody. Where I end up flicking off or, that didn't sound right. Where I end up releasing the pigment, I guess, without making it sound dirty. Just depends on their bone structure, but this is generally like what I use and how I do it. I'm going to take a little bit more on my hand, a little bit more on my finger, and I actually really want to I want to go on my temple, but I'm going to go on the outside of the, like the end of my eyebrow and blend that into my hairline. See that? So I'm going to take my contour and blend that into my hairline, and you can see how that's creating this really lovely lifted here. And I'm going into the hairline because again, I want that shadow to come from somewhere. We don't have shadows that start and stop on our faces. The shadows come from somewhere. So you could see that, right? Lifting up. Hey, Amanda. War and peace, please. Love you guys. All right. Cool. So you can see how this is starting to change shape. Now I'm going to use the same thing. I mean, I do have some eyeshadow primer on my eyes, and I'm going to do the same thing with the same product, warming it up here, but I am going to use a brush, and I'm going to use a brush that kind of mimics a finger. And this is, you can see how it's like beveled on the side. It's flat on one side and rounded on the other. That's beveled. I'm going to take the round side of this brush and load it up with some of that contour. And I'm gonna go, I want it to be the most, like I'm going on the bone, but I want the most lift right underneath my arch. So I'm gonna press it up here. I'm contouring the eye. And then I'm gonna blend it toward the inside of the brow, because again, we want the shadow to come from somewhere. Right? So we're going to go towards the inside of the brow, and then I'm just going to press it and start moving. I'm going to use the flat side of the brush. I'm going to move this and then bring it into that contour I just did on the temple. So I'm going to start here with the flat side of the brush and very softly bring that up. So now this has a lifted contour here. Very gently bring this up into that so you can see the difference. It's really subtle, but in photographs it makes a difference. So I'm going to take a little bit more and we're going to do the other side. Other side. I'm just excited that like more people are here. Like, hi ladies. So I have Carol and I have Amanda. It's very exciting, my friends. Hello, friends. Joyce is still here, I think. Yeah. It's great. Okay, tell your friends. Tell them to join. I'm here. I'm live. Oh my God. Anyway, I don't talk like that. Okay, so we're gonna go right underneath, and it's really similar actually to measuring your arch, but I'm gonna go right underneath here. Press, press, press. And I got the intensity there. And then very gently, I'm gonna lift up my pressure and bring it in toward the inside of the brow. And then go to the flat side. And it's actually starting to dry a little bit, so I'm gonna take some of the wet product that's still on that side. Pardon me. And I'm gonna warm it up a little bit. Because you gotta kind of be quick with this. I'm trying to like explain it, so it's taking a while. And then I'm gonna blend it up into the temple contour. So now I'm just gonna swoosh and blend each of it. And you can even just use your finger. And what's cool is like when you contour your eyes like this, the contour of your eyes, even when you do your eyeshadow, you're gonna see that contour underneath it. And it's grabbing and it's drying because that primer is underneath there. And even though this is a cream, it's still kind of dry when I'm putting it on because I'm not putting a lot on. Hey, yes, you're welcome. I don't have my glasses. Who is it? Oh, Ella. Yeah. Hi. That's great. Free makeup tips. Yay. I mean, yeah, you're welcome. Why not, right? I like to spread the wealth. And I mean, there is a method to my magic because I am going to be doing a series. No, I'm just going to take a sponge and just soften the edges. I am going to be doing a series of beauty webinars. They're called Majestic Beauty. I started to do, my first one was launched last early February. I think it was like February 16th last year, you know, and then life happens and tragedies happen. And then I kind of got threw off base with doing these webinars, but I am planning on bringing them back. So I figured I'd give you some tips and some free stuff, and then I'll have my webinars, and they're really cool because I really like to incorporate the magic into and the intention into what all of what makeup can do for you, and the attention to details and beauty, and the intention of what's in our makeup and how we can actually make the molecules in our skincare and makeup work for us even better in our lives. And so, hey, Marianne. Oh, yay, people are here. So that's what all those brushes are for. That's so funny. It's true. Yeah, there are functions for all the different brushes. You can make a brush do, like one brush do 2 or 3 different things for you to get the most out of your brush. Maybe I'll do something on that and just be like, you know, what kind of brushes do you guys put a photo comment here about maybe what brushes you don't know what the hell to do with, or like, hey, Amy, give me a challenge of, you know, what brush, say, hey, I have this brush, give me 2 or 3 different ways of using this brush. And so post a photo in the comments on like those brushes, and then I'll pick a brush and I'll do the brush challenge of doing 2 to 3 different things that you can get, ways you could use your brush. I always like doing that. I used to do that for trainings in stores. Okay, back to contour. I'm going to take a little bit more, again, on my finger, warming up the product. And so far I have all this contour like right here and here. I'm going to take a little bit and just focus on my jawline to add some balance. So I'm going to take a little bit on my finger, go behind my ear, and then just very gently go along my jawline. Just so I have this like temple cheek contour, and then jawline. And then I can even start to blend it down a little bit. Blend it up and blend it down. And I could use a sponge. The Rare Beauty sponges are like my absolute favorites. I don't know the texture, they're just magnificent. And I have so many of them standing by, and they're really like affordable too. Okay, so I'm gonna take a little bit more on here, go back behind the ear, and then just blend it along my jawline. Blend this up and blend this down. Cool. So now we got that. You bought a set of brushes for your daughter recently. Great. Good. Yeah, I mean, she could even, what does she want to know? I will say, like, nose contours. I'm not really into nose contours, but I will take a little bit, like, right on the tip of my nose, because I want balance between, like, my whole face. So you can see how that just offers, like, a nice balance. And I go right, I want the shadow to come from somewhere. So I'm actually using my nostrils. I don't really feel like I need to correct my nose in any way, but I do want to offer just a little bit here. I don't really like to draw the line down on the nose. It's more like for theatrical things. But I mean, if that's something that you do, that's just something I don't do. Because I don't have like a natural, there's no line down my nose. I don't know, it just looks ridiculous on me. So I'm gonna take a little bit more on my finger, and then I'm just gonna offer a little bit of contour up here and here. And notice the placement of my finger too. Like, I really wanna make sure it stays blended and nice and soft. And that's pretty much all I do for my contouring. And I'm just gonna buff it out a little bit with my sponge. And there we go. Contouring, yay. Okay. Now, I got these done. I'm still seeing a little pink around my lip line, which is fine. I'll get to that later. I want to get to the eyes. I usually start off with a little bit of eyeliner, and this is, I usually wear black eyeliner. And this is from Makeup Forever, of course, because they're like my favorite brand. I mean, I get to say that now. When I worked for a cosmetic retailer, I never got to say my favorite. Well, this is my favorite. So I'm doing the waterline, and this is circa 1985, 1986, when I first started wearing eyeliner. But I love how much pigment I get. I never have a problem with this being in my waterline and causing a problem with my eyes. It's really easy, and it glides on. It's a retractable, waterproof. I probably put a little bit too much in here, but man, it makes my eyes pop. Now, I do a tight line, which is I actually do the waterline underneath my lashes above, and I usually have to kind of half close my eyes. So it feels weird at first, but the benefits of it are so great, especially in photographs, because you can see how that just gives so much more dimension and thickness to my lash line, which is so cool. And if you have a hard time like closing your eyes and knowing what you're doing, you could always just lift it up. And when you go to the inside corner, look to the outside, because really the sensitivity comes from your iris. And then when you want to go in the outside corner, look to the inside. And so you can get it done that way too. What set of brushes did you buy for your daughter? I'm asking. This is called engagement. I'm being purposefully engaging. So yeah, we're gonna do the tight line, and then I could even, how am I gonna situate it so it can be on camera? We're gonna look to the outer edge here. It looks incredibly awkward and uncomfortable, and it is a little awkward, but it really isn't that bad. It actually kind of feels good. I'm gonna get that inside corner. So I want to get all the way around on that tight line. It's actually easier for me to do somebody else's tight line than it is to do my own. It's easier for me to do somebody else's makeup than it is to actually do my own. So this is what I do every time for me. And what I'm probably supposed to do on camera is do that and then use like an angled brush, and then I could just kind of wing this out a little bit, because I like a baby wing, because my eyes are pretty hooded, so I just like to do like a little baby wing out like that to kind of just extend it. But I don't always use a brush, to be honest, for myself, especially when I'm in a hurry. So I just do like tiny little dots here, and then I usually use my fingernail. I will never do this on somebody else, but I do this for myself sometimes, and it sounds gross, but I'm being honest. So you could do the angled brush if you want to, or you could be innovative like me, because the nails just work so well for me. I would never do that on anybody else though. And anybody that I've done my makeup on, or done makeup on for anyone else, has known, thanks. Yeah, look at that. Here we go. Yeah, so there is that. I don't really like to, I don't have a lot of lid. Oh, hey, Alex, how are ya? Okay. I don't have a whole lot of lid, so I really don't like closing my lid with like a lot of eyeliner, but that's where that tight line can come in. And then see how there's like a little dip right here, even if it doesn't look like a little smooth, that's when I can take this brush and I'll hold the skin tight and I will soften. I'll lead with the shorter bristles, and then the longer bristles will blend it and smooth it out. So I'm actually, and then when I want to go this way, again, I'll start here, lead with the short bristles, and let the longer bristles trail behind. And that's how you can use an angled brush and just get that nice and smooth, like so, like that. So again, I'm gonna lead with the shorter bristles. And then this one's getting a little dry, as you can see, so it's starting to skip, and that's okay, because I'm just gonna add a tiny little bit more to get that activated and moving again. So there we go here, and then up here. And it's like, it don't have to be perfect. And again, I can't really see all that well because I wear glasses. So a lot of this is actually just muscle memory for me, but from what I can tell, it seems to be working pretty well on the camera there. Okay, great. I'm not gonna play with it too much. Okay, so the next thing that I do is shadow. I do some eyeshadow. I do like, no, not that one. Well, I like all the things that I have. Okay, so what I'm using and what I use on the regular is called, it's from Charlotte Tilbury. I love her eyeshadows so much. They just melt into my skin. This one's Pillow Talk. It's like some of her most popular. I just love these tones. They're so buttery and so good. It's almost like I hesitated to like share all my makeup tips with you because I don't want things to sell out so I can't get them. So I'm like, let me make sure I'm stocked up before I share everything. So I'm using a smudgy bullet brush here, little tiny smudgy brush, and I'm pressing it just into the tip of the brush, just the tip. And what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to I'm gonna roll the edges of the brush. Instead of tapping off the excess, I want the very, very tip of the brush to still have a lot of pigment on it, but I am gonna like roll the edges out so it diffuses out. And I am going to start on the outer edge because, again, where I lay my brush down first is where I'm going to have the most pigment and the most intensity of pigment. So I want to make sure that I have my point here and then very gently blend that over. And this just starts to give me some balance and like really helps me. I connect it. I start here and then I'll blend it out underneath that liner a little bit, like kind of flick it out, and you can see it skipped a little. That's okay. I can just use my finger to soften that. But this really helps to open up my whole eye area. There's a complexion eye blending. Oh, angles. Oh, smart. Oh, great. That's a lot of brushes. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, let me know if she wants me to, if you want to do the brush challenge, let me know what brush you want to use, and I can give you 2 or 3 different uses for pretty much every brush. Again, starting on the outside corner. And if you notice that when I do one step on one side, I do the same step on the other side because I want it to be as even and symmetrical as possible, even though generally I go back and forth a lot. I don't finish one eye and then do the other eye. I want to know what I'm doing and the pigment is balanced between both sides of the face as I'm doing it, so I don't have to worry about it. I have no idea about any of this. Thank you. You're welcome. Hey, Joan. Oh, you tagged Stacy. Hey. Oh, there's like more people here. Hi, people. Great. Fantastic. Tell your friends. Share it, right? So share this and tell your friends. I'm now going to switch gears to this, right? I'm going to go to, that was the deeper shade that I used here for underneath. Now I'm going to go to this medium shade. I love this shade. And I'm going to use like a fluffier angled brush. And again, I'm going to go straight down into the brush because I really want most of the pigment to be in the center of the brush. I mean, you could use sides of the brushes, tips of the brushes. You could do swirls. You could do strokes. You could do pats. I mean, there's so many different things that you could do with your brush and getting the effect that you want to make your brush work for you. And then I'm just going to press it gently and to warm up the pigment. And I'm going to go right up where I did the contour. And I am going to press this right into the area where I had done that original contour. And then I'm just going to blend it in and blend it. I'm using the side of the brush now. See, I'm like really lightening up my pressure. So I'm pressing straight into the contour. And then I lighten up my pressure and use the sides of the brush to blend. So again, press, 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 press. And then I'm going to press, press to get the excess off. I'm going to go right where that contour was. Press, 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 because that's where I want the most pigment. Use the side of the brush to blend in and the side of the brush to blend up and out. And the thing is, when I do that, you can see like I really don't have to do so much blending. It's like I'm blending as I go. I'm blending in the direction. I don't put a bunch of stuff on and then try to blend it out later. It's like be intentional with my placement. I place it and then I softly blend it out. And then that way I don't get a bunch of fallout everywhere. I haven't had any fallout. At least I don't think so. Nope, no fallout. Because I'm taking care of all of that as I'm going. The next thing I'm going to do is a little bit of highlight. I'm going to take this, I love this color, and I'm actually going to use my finger. I usually use like my middle finger, and I'll go right here, and that's where I will go right into that highlight spot, right in the center of the eye, right? I got a little bit down there. I press it right on the center of the eye, and then I'm actually inching my way over to the inner corner. And then I can take the brush that I just used and just softly blend those edges together. I'm going to take my other hand, my left hand, I'm not left-handed, and take the same pigment, and I am going to go right on the center of the eye and then work my way in. into the inner corner. Take that same brush and just marry it and very gently use that brush and blend it up into that color that I had just done in the contour. I'm gonna take a little bit more. I want a little bit more on that side. Awesome. I'm so glad this is working. I didn't know how this Facebook Live was gonna go. I don't really do Facebook Live. I've done Instagram Live. I haven't done Facebook Live really, not for a really long time. I am gonna go into a smaller brush. It's another bullet brush, like how I did that color underneath. This one just happens to be clean, so I have multiple of these brushes. And I am going to take that same highlighter color that I just did, but I'm gonna use the side of it, right? So let me show you. I'm gonna use the side. So before I used like the point, the very tip of the brush, I'm using the side of the brush now, right? So you can see it's on the side of the tip of the brush. I'm gonna just very gently press it, and then I'm gonna go to this inside corner. I'm a huge fan of the 90s inside corner, right? I'm pressing it on, and I'm gonna look up a little bit so I can get right on that inside corner there. And it's just a look, right? It's a vibe. And I will continue to do this until the day that I die. Okay, same thing. I'm gonna press this right in the corner, inside corner, and I'm gonna look up and over and just kind of feel it. And then I'm gonna look down and over and just get that inside corner. Ta-da! Yeah, it's cool. I like it. All right. I didn't even do mascara yet. So this is generally what I do each day. If you want more intensity, you can always take a little bit of that brush and go right on the side of the brush. And without even pressing it off, you could just go right on that inside corner along the lash line. And especially if you have any, like if your eyeliner is not completely perfect, you can always take like a really soft shimmer and just go right over those edges to kind of smooth them out a little bit if you want, make them look a little bit more perfect. I mean, on camera, I'm trying to do photographs. I'm actually gonna soften this area too and build that up. If I'm doing anything, any eyeshadow or any kind of eyeliner or mistakes or anything, it's going to show up on camera if you're trying to actually like take professional pictures. But for every day, yeah, use a little bit of shimmer to remove any imperfections of your eyeliner. Why not? It totally works, and it just makes it easier. All right, mascara. Actually, before I do mascara, I'll do mascara last. If there's any questions or anything else that you have so far, let me know. I know this is like a long, how long have I been doing? I don't even know how long I've been on here. Who knows? But I knew this was going to be a long one because I'm doing my makeup and I'm talking about it all the way through. So whatever. It's my Facebook. I can do whatever I want. Okay. I am going to use a House Labs blush. Now this is pretty intense. So I'm using a big fluffy brush. The bigger, the fluffier, and the longer the bristles, the softer it's going to be, the application is going to be. And I am just like literally, I'm just going to bounce it. I'm not even like, I'm not going in there with a pigment. I'm just bouncing to get some of that pigment on there. And then I am going to warm it up on my hand. I do want it to be warm. Now, when I do blush, I like to have a little bit more of like a lifted look. For like a more natural look, you could probably go here. I'm actually going to go right here, and I'm going to go, it's going to be on top of my cheekbone, like right underneath the outside corner of my eye, or like where I ended my eyeliner. And so I'm just going to place the brush down here first, and you can see I'm placing it, and then I'm kind of flicking it down. And you can see where I get that intensity. And I like to do something a little bit more pink because I will soften it with a little bit of my powder. So again, I'm going here and then down some. yeah. I just think the pigment is just so beautiful. And then I'm gonna actually use my finger and then smooth it out some. And I like to have this little pink, I love having pink blush. Pink blush is so, oh, it's so pretty. So pretty. And that pink is just so beautiful because I want my lips to be more pink. So I always want like my blush to match my lip color. Although sometimes I think, I don't know, I don't even know what I feel like doing. I was thinking of maybe doing a pink, or you could put some of your blush on your lips too, which is really good. Or you could put some of your lipstick on your cheeks. I mean, like, whatever. I am going to wipe off what's left over of the, hey Jamie. I'm gonna wipe off what's left over of the plumper that was on my lips, because I want to be able to put on my lip color. And now that I have my blush on here, I am going to use my powder, my foundation powder that I had used earlier. And I'm actually just going to use it. I'm going to take a little bit on my brush and I'm just going to soften these edges. And this is like the deeper tone that I had. So it's actually going to soften it and kind of warm it up a little bit and just be really, really soft. Now you could, if you have a cream blush, you can mix it with your concealer, you can mix it with your foundation to create like a softer tone to it to make it look more seamless. Personally, I don't like a whole lot of blush for me because I already got cheeks, and then I'll just be like looking like my cheeks are showing up like 5 minutes before I do. And we don't want that. We want it to all show up at the same time. I am going to take a little bit more of like the highlighter from the Hollywood filter, and I'm just going to go right above that and take my finger and very gently press it. And you can see like I'm able to layer creams over powders because I am making sure the powders that I'm using are very, very sheer layers and they're warm on my skin. Like they're warmed up and they fused with my skin. They're not sitting on top of my skin. So I'm able to get those layers in that color dimension. It's beautiful. Okay, lips. Meryl. I know there was a couple questions. There was a lot of questions about that one lip that I did that one time. And do I have all of the things to recreate that lip right here? Do I? Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe I do. I have something similar. Okay. So I am going to recreate the lip that I got so many questions on. You're a natural at this, and I learned so much in just a minute here. Then you have your whole life. I love you, Joan. I've known Joan a really long time. Okay, great. I'm going to start first with a little bit of lip liner. I do have my mirror, but I want to use a hand mirror. So, and I still haven't done mascara. Mascara is amazing. I'm going to go in the center of the lip first. Creating like a V. And I like to, as you can see, like my lip color is really actually at half of my lip. So my lip actually comes out here, the actual lip, and then my lip color actually stops naturally halfway through. It's very difficult to speak and do this at the same time. So I draw a little V. I match the peaks of my Cupid's bow, which is what that's called, to basically my nostrils. And then I'll bring it down a little, like almost creating like an M. And then I do the north, south, east, west check, which I'll show you in a second what that is, because I'll look up north and make sure the peaks are matching up. I look down south, make sure that that looks smooth. I look on the east and then on the west and make sure that everything's lined up. So I'm going to go straight underneath first. So I usually do the center of the lip first. And again, I'm stopping like on the outer edges of where my nose is. So I'm just paying attention to that. And I like to overdraw my lip a little bit, if you can't tell. So yeah, I'm already seeing like a really great fullness. And I'm using my finger to blend out the inside edge and make sure I'm shearing it down to make it look really smooth, really sheer, so that it doesn't, again, I don't like feeling like I'm wearing like a ton of makeup on my face. And quite frankly, I mean, your skin can only hold so much. So like if your makeup starts sliding throughout the day, it's just because you put too much on. Your skin can only hold so much. It doesn't matter if you put primers. The more layers and the more stuff that you have on your skin, it's not going to be able to hold it. I mean, physics kicks in, your body heat kicks in, and it'll melt right off of your face if it's not adhering. So that's why sheer layers is best. Okay, I am going to go in the corner and very gently, using the side of the pencil, connect. And I'm kind of going inside the lip. I'm not going all the way to the corner, into the lip here. And then connecting. Great. Awesome. And then the next thing that I did for that particular lip is I used a cream. Is that it? Yeah, no, that's not it. What is it? I used a cream lip stain, and I don't know what I did with it. So I don't have that particular one, but I'll show you maybe which one. Which over there? I don't know. What's that? Okay. I'll use this one. I mean, it'll work. It'll be fine. I'm going to take a little bit. So if you ever used a cream lip stain, or liquid lip, I should say, you could do that. I get a little bit and I'll go right in the center here, and then I'll go in the center here. That's it. Then I take my finger and I blend it. And if I don't use my finger, I'll use like an eyeshadow brush, because again, sheer layers work best. So I don't know, I'll just use this brush. So any of those cream lip stains or liquid lips that you use, it's fun to get like the full coverage that you want, because like I'll even go over the pencil. And I'm gonna shear it down. And then I'm gonna press it into my skin and let it warm up and expand under my skin and blend, because you know, these things can be really drying and really thick feeling. Now, this one is from Sephora collection. It's actually one of my favorite liquid lips, or cream. It's actually cream lip stain. That's the title, that's the name of it, but I love it, but I have to shear it down, or my lips like get super dry, and then they look like, you know, they look like a cat's asshole, you know what I mean? Anyway, you know what I'm saying. I couldn't stop it from coming out of my face. I had to say it. I'm just saying. All right. Now, I am going to blot it a little bit because I put a little, even a more on than I wanted to. And I have to use like a cloth, because if I use like a Kleenex or like a tissue, I'm going to get those little bits and pieces on there. I'm going to take a little bit of this. Now, this is not the lip that I was planning on doing because I didn't have that on me, but I'm going to take a little bit of my blush and take a little bit on that brush that I used for the liner, and I'm going to take a little bit of this blush, and I am going to add some of this to the center of the lip. So pretty, so fun. You really want if you want it to be like a super balanced look, a really fun rule of thumb is to have your lips match your cheek as much as possible in the same color family, and it'll always look balanced. So even though that's a little dry, it's like, it's not transferring, right? Not until I put a little bit of gloss or something on it, which I will, so it's fine. So anyway, that's what we got going on. And then the last thing that I like to do, I don't know what I did with it. I'm like, where did I put it? I usually like to do like a really nice like shimmery gloss or something like on the center of the lip, or like a just in the center to add a little bit more hydration. The color's really not going anywhere. There we go. So now I don't look like I have super dry lips. And now the last thing that I'm gonna do is are my lashes. I don't normally use an eyelash curler, although if I'm gonna be using pictures, I will. So I will do this, lift, curl, lift, curl, lift, curl. So I start at the base and then I squeeze. I don't go too far to the base because, I mean, it's really like the center of the eye. I have really tiny eyes though, so it's almost like it's at my base. But I just grab this, right? There we go. Here, lift, and just kind of pull out as I'm lifting, and then it just curls it as you go. For the tip, I've done a lot of crying over this past year, so I've come up with a way to do my mascara that makes it completely waterproof, but not just using waterproof mascara. I gotta find, you can probably hear all of that commotion. I'm so sorry. Oh, here we go. I start off with a regular mascara. What am I using? This is Voluminous Original from L'Oreal. I mean, I kind of like it. I'm going to, so I basically, when I do my mascara, I start in the base of the lash and then I wiggle as I go up, and I use my regular mascara. I've used many mascaras. I really, I try to find one to be loyal to, but usually I like my mascaras to be like really clumpy. I like very volumizing mascaras to the point where a lot of people don't like the kind of formulas that I use. My eyelashes are very, very light, but they're not short. They're pretty healthy because I use a serum. I've used the Grande Lash serum to keep my lashes like really long and healthy. I've used it for years. But you can see that, yeah, it looks good. I don't like wearing false lashes. I know there's a lot of my false lash girls out there that love it. I am terrible at applying false lashes on myself. I'm really good at doing it on other people, terrible at putting them on myself because I can't see. And it's just not, usually it's hard for me to find a lash to apply on myself that doesn't make my eyes disappear or make my eyes so itchy. Yeah, it's just not my thing. So I just invest in using a lash serum, and then I don't feel like I need false lashes. Before I do the bottom lashes, I actually go back and I use a waterproof, and I put the waterproof over top. And this actually keeps, believe it or not, I don't really like waterproof formulas as all of my mascara, but I'll do a regular mascara, and then I'll use, this one is the good old trusty pink and green from Maybelline that I absolutely love. As you can see, I'm wiggling as I go up, and this will actually coat my mascara to keep it waterproof.
So I get the volume that I really, really love from whatever mascara. If you have a nice clumpy volumizing mascara that you love, let me know, because I have yet to find the one to be completely loyal to at all times. And usually when I do find the one, I think I already said this, they usually get discontinued. I don't know why. I guess I just like mascaras that other people don't. So as you can see, I'm also like blinking and allowing me to blink on the mascara. So I do spend a good amount of time on my mascara to make sure that these lashes are in the right direction. I'm just making sure as I'm wiggling, it's like I'm combing and brushing my lashes into place as they're drying. And that does create a process, and one that is well worth it to me. And then I'm going to use like a little comb and just make sure that everything is not so clumpy. And yeah, cool. And then I only used the waterproof on the bottom. And if you get mascara on your makeup, just let it dry. I mean, it's hard to look at it, but just kind of let it dry, and then you can just use a Q-tip, a dry Q-tip, and flick it right off as soon as it dries. You don't have to use makeup remover, you don't have to use anything else, just let it sit there and look crazy until it completely dries, and then you could use a dry Q-tip, and it'll just flake right off. So don't sweat it. All right, my friends. I guess that's it. There we go. I might have a little, yeah, I got a little mascara in the corner there, and I think it's dry at this point. So I'm just gonna take a dry Q-tip, and it comes right off. Cool. And that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this time. Thank you for being here. Share it. I am going to be doing my hair, and then I'll be taking photos of myself, and I'll be posting those. I also love a good filter. Don't act like you don't know that I use filters. Come on now. I love them. I think they're fun. I think using AI is fun. I think it's just fun. I know people have their opinions, and that's great. Have your opinions. I think it's a good time. So I have a lot of fun with it. I had a lot of fun just talking to all of you. Thank you for tuning in. Share the content. Tell your friends. Interact with me in the comments, and then I will, thank you. I will let you know, I'll create some content and do some things. So yeah, I will see you all soon. Happy New Year, everyone. I love you. Mwah. I'll talk to you later.